Hi everyone, Helen here, creator of the Yaysay project. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that at the request of some of my players, I've decided to narrate these builds. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're enjoying the project so far. So here, as it says, I'm adding the stairs to the kitchen and to the guest rooms. So the kitchen's downstairs, guest rooms are upstairs, with the idea being that you should be able to just see a little bit of what the storage is for the kitchen downstairs without going into too much detail, because I'm not going to be doing interiors on every single thing here. As you can see, there's a little bit of fiddling around trying to get the pieces to actually fit and work. This game is not really designed to be a tavern builder, it's supposed to be building a zoo. Some of these pieces also fit kind of in like a map world grid on the map, and other ones are a little bit more freeform. So it's actually been a lot easier for me to piece these buildings together in the free-form pieces, not the snapped grid pieces, which means it takes a bit longer, but it means I can get a lot more freedom in what I'm actually wanting the builds to look like. So the way I'm doing this is I have one of the maps open, the most recent map of this in next to me on the monitor beside me, and I'm trying to keep the floor plan as accurate as I possibly can to what that build is, that map is. It's not 100% accurate because I have to make some allowances and some tweaks based on the dimensions of the pieces I'm working with. But it's pretty close. And in general, this inn has had a few different alterations over time. But it's kept its layout pretty consistent in terms of the gist of it. Kitchen on the bottom, the inn on the on the first floor, and then the second floor being guest quarters. Here's another example you can see of just, an asset that isn't in the game, making it from scratch. Just adding coal and soot to what would be inside the fireplace. I find just to add the little details can sometimes help the immersion just a little bit. It's like building little diorama in this game. The details like wear and tear, or where dirt collects in the corners of the rooms, or where soot collects from the fire not being cleaned, the fireplace not being cleaned out, just little things like that help a fair bit. One thing I also noticed, which is more in the second video, which I'll talk about there, but I'll talk about it here too, which is placing things like the fireplace helps me also work out where things like the chimneys are better placed. So here I'm building just a kind of a holder for the candles. If anyone's ever been in places where candles were, or torches were lit inside internal buildings, like really old buildings like in Europe and stuff, you'll see there's lots of soot and stuff on the wall. So my thought was to either put that soot on the wall or have like metal brackets behind the candles. My logic being that when they're installed in the house, or in this case the inn, any of the soot from the candle or the fires would just get cleaned off that metal bracket behind the candle. Attempting to make a chair. As you can see, again, an asset which is not in the game, and also trying to work with pieces that are a little larger than I'd like them to be. this game having a cut and paste option and being able to save blueprints has been a lifesaver in doing something customised like this. So these overhangs, essentially these supports, the idea being that a lot of some older buildings in Europe, I'm not sure if other countries do them as well or had done them, but to kind of save on space, they would make the top floors, the additional floors a little bit, have a larger floor plan than the lower floors. And to do that, they'd have those little supports come out. So that's what you saw before me doing. These just sort of weight-bearing beams coming out to sort of help support the floor from above. Alright, I will come back to this alley later in the video, but starting to put some laundry kind of just adds a bit of life to the map, makes it, you know, feel as though it's being lived in. Same with all this grime and, you know, wear and tear that I'm adding, you know, some wear on the carpet and plaster's getting a little bit mildewy or, you know, starting to flake in areas. Alright, next asset I'm making from scratch. The hope is that it was to look like an armchair, and I think I was able to do it okay. Me trying to find something small enough that I can use as legs, and also to try to camouflage the front bit that looks just way too sterile. Just a lot of experimentation trying to play around with these pieces that are clearly not designed to be used for this. These are meant to be hinges that you put on a door. But I think it does the job. You sort of, you know, it looks like an armchair. Alright, so this table has been sat at by a couple of different parties in 2 different campaigns of the game that I play in this. So this table here sitting by the door to the residency is where the current campaign of characters have sat. It's large enough for them to sit and they can drag other chairs over, which they've done in the game. And even the previous campaign, they just seem to gravitate to this table. So I don't know if my current players are aware of that, but the last campaign of players did the same thing. They kind of naturally took to this table. That one there that I just added. This entire inn, the idea is that it's stationed to Southgate, which is those big gates in the towers are manned by the city guard, and so this inn gets used a lot for city guards to have their lunch and dinner in between shifts. So it's got a high, it's almost like the police, the guards, I guess you call them. So there's a lot of guard presence in this inn, but most of the time they're off duty. They're just, you know, having something to eat before or after a shift. It's also where the party have been able to meet up, they've been able to get information, connect with the innkeeper. It's also where the classic "we met at an inn" trope has been done. So the idea is that the characters will have some connection to each other, but then something happens that brings them all together, generally to do with this inn at the very start, and that also gives them a location they can keep coming back to. At least at the very early stages of the game, where they're sort of, you know, getting their feet. There's a really quick thing that just happened back there with the picture frame, but another great thing about this game is you can upload custom images. So that image was just a free stock image that I just got off online. I can't remember which free source I used. I'm as an artist as myself, I'm pretty big on copyright. I don't like taking things that aren't really mine if I'm going to be sharing them publicly. So in this particular case, that image was a stock free, royalty free image. Yeah, the posters, I can put whatever I want. I can make something custom in Photoshop, which I will be doing. I can make all sorts of things like maps. I can make wanted posters, all sorts of things. Alright, now the lanterns. I'm going to talk more about the scaffolding and stuff like that. The house, pin up. So those support beams in the roof are also very convenient for lighting to hang off them. So the way I've done the support really is treat the outline of the building like a box, and wherever the large open spaces are is where the extra support will be needed, and that's where the support beams would go through. And again, it's also convenient to hang lighting off those support beams. If anyone's ever been in very old buildings, you've seen similar. This is me trying to also suss out how the water pump tap work. So handheld manual pump there. My logic being that they would just pump water, to fill up if someone wants a glass of water, or they can pump it into that basin if they want to rinse out glasses, but the majority of the dishwashing would get done in the kitchen. So water can get tossed out through that window, it would just go, dirty water would just go on the flowers outside. There's also a drain in the street down below. Most of their dishes would get done downstairs. Alright, cups and mugs, another asset the game doesn't have. So this is my best attempt at trying to make it look like a mug. I initially was trying to make it look like an upright mug, with the hole being at the top, but now I think it almost looks like they're upside down. Okay, back to the piping. So yeah, anyone who understands anything about plumbing can confirm if this would even work. If it doesn't work because of physics, we're going to say it works because of magic, just roll with it. But yeah, the idea is that they would just pump around the water that runs through the city. It's good irrigation. We're back to the alleyway. So here, all the little nooks and crannies in the city would get used, I'd imagine. So this area does get a bit of sun. So to me that makes sense. They would have their washing here. They'd also make attempts to grow some things that otherwise would be a bit difficult to grow in the city, with all the cement and paving and other stuff. So they've got some carrots they're attempting to grow. They've got some herbs in the tray in the garden bed up against the other building. Extra storage. Lots of fun little things and little details that just again help it kind of get brought to life a little bit more. Sometimes it is the clutter that really does just bring it to life a little bit more. Yeah, being able to change colours on these things is also a massive help. Sometimes you don't want the rugs to be as ornate as they are here, just a simple brown or grey rug. It's good. More clutter, more leaves, dirt, grime. I mean, I'd say the inn is still very clean and respectable. This is just supposed to be, wear and tear. It's not a new build. A bit of water damage coming out of the pipe at the side of the building there. So I'm kind of honestly making it up as I go along. I'm using the map, like I said, from the actual game as a template. In terms of style, I'm detail.